So how active are animals that have non-transitioned, like domestic pets, in flowing forth into your life?
Well, you might say equally active as what we were just describing, but the difference between the consciousness that comes forth into you and the consciousness that comes forth into your beast is that you are more deliberate in your creating while they are more deliberate in their allowing. That's the primary distinction between the vibrational energy. Humans are more often in step 1 and animals are more often in step 3. You call them instinctual because they act out of instinct or inspiration more. They are much more tuned because of the absence of the resistant thoughts. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't introduce resistance into an animal's life. You certainly can. But for the most part, the beasts of your planet are more in the allowing phase. Jerry and Esther visited some friends some years ago, and they frequently visited them when they traveled to this city. Often had a lovely barbecue in their backyard, and the four of them visited along with a big, beautiful dog. And this dog, Jerry and Esther had come to know him because he was always there. Once a year, they always saw him. And then one year, they arrived, and they had not heard that the dog had made its transition. Jerry and Esther did not know that. And there had been no discussion about it. And as they were eating, Esther kept having a very clear impression or experience of this big dog just running past. And Esther would acknowledge that he had. In other words, it was not unusual. Then she started looking for him because she kept feeling him running by. So she asked, "Where is he?" And then they got all sad and explained that he'd made his transition. And Esther said, "Well, he's here today. He's here today. He's been all over this place. I keep feeling him. It's almost like the wind of him is going past me." He was so happy to be back in the backyard with the four of them, with someone who could recognize him as being there. He ran circles around their picnic table. He did everything that he could think of doing. He got Esther's attention. He really got Esther's attention. And Esther said to them, "This is the first awareness that I've ever had that non-physical animals are," and of course, lots of people are aware of the spirits of animals. It was just not something that was on Esther's mind. It was not something that Esther had ever asked about. That was her first opportunity to have that experience. And so, yes. No one ever leaves. No one ever leaves. And the most important thing that we want to say to you is, this is where the leading edge is happening. Therefore, this is where all consciousness is focused. And as soon as you accept that and then begin to practice the thought until it's active in your vibration, you will realize how not separate you all are from that which is non-physical. And then you will begin to really receive the benefit not only of that wisdom, which is collectively awesome, but you will receive the benefit of your timing, your intuitiveness. Here's another thing. When you tune in to this high frequency of this pure energy, you have more vibrational leverage. Because think about it, when you connect with the part of you that has that powerful law of attraction responding to it, and there's no resistance within you, think of the clarity and the power and the influence that you then have. It's a wonderful thing to experience. And really, so many of you have lived it so many times, you're really not happy doing anything less than that. Especially now, it should have been on the registration guidelines that you signed. I understand that I cannot go back. I understand that once I've experienced this conversation with the repetition that it is going to provide and with the influence that it provides because of the high energy content of this room, and once my vibration has been raised and I have consciously acknowledged my knowing, I will never be able to unknow it again. So these things that we're talking about here, you will experience so much more because there is so much non-physical eager to play with you. Not showing up in the corner and scaring you. Although if you like that, we are available. But more impulse and timing and clarity, the feelings of sureness, knowledge about things that you've never known about before that now you know about. Esther will always remember the day that she realized that it was necessary to replaster the swimming pool. And the man that was taking the order from her, who was writing the contract for her, was asking her questions that she knew the answers to. And she had to know it was because Jerry was standing right there knowing all of that, and that she was in sync with him. How many gallons does a pool hold? She knew that. They have a big water tank on the property where they have pumped the water up from the aquifer to a big tank in a well house. And so this man said, you have enough water in this storage tank to fill the pool so we can do it quickly. And Esther said, that's really nice, because she really liked the idea of utilizing that water. Also, they collect rainwater from all the buildings and carry it through the pipelines, through the gutters, and through the pipes in the buildings down to some underground storage tanks. And Esther really liked the idea of utilizing the rainwater for the pool. And so she was talking to him about that system, and she knew more about it than she realized that she knew about it. And then she had a very powerful thought come into her mind. A lot of that rainwater has been in a tank that has been undisturbed for a while. It may have a lot of stuff to clean out of it. And then she saw in her mind's eye a sort of filling of the pool with dirty water. And she said to him, I don't think that's a very good idea. I think we better truck some water in. Let's just truck it in, and then we'll know what we've got. And then he said, good idea, because that way the water can be balanced in the truck before we put it in the pool. And as he walked away, Esther thought, I was so wise about that. I was so wise about these things that I've never thought about before. And we say, you have the ability to be wise about things that you've not thought about before, because you have access, hear it, to infinite intelligence about anything that matters to you. Everything that has been known and things that are still being known are coming to you once you were in the receiving mode, once you were in the replenishing mode. Yes? Yeah.
Can I ask one more thing? So my dog has a physical ailment in his leg, right leg, and I have a little bit of something going on in the back of my right leg, and I'm just curious whether it's a vibrational match.
Maybe, but let's not fill the whole audience with this conversation.
Okay, no, that's great. That's fine.
Any associations that you make, you want to ask how they're serving you, because there's a tendency when you stand in a physical situation, and let's call it a manifestation, because every moment is a manifested moment, isn't it? Every moment is a manifested moment. As you are acknowledging the manifested moment that you are standing in, there are usually things wanted and not wanted in that moment. There's a tendency to want to find a way to justify or even just explain how you got to where you are. But the thing about that is that even though you may be accurately explaining how you got there, you are still embellishing it, compounding it, adding to it. Everything is connected to everything. That's what we meant when we said your domesticated animals often begin to act like you. Sometimes they are as resistant as you are, because they hang around you and they pick up on the vibration of you. Even though they're not talking with you, they are in your vibrational vicinity, and most of them do a pretty good job of holding their own. But the more you have domesticated them and the more you have trained them to care what you think, for example, your cats don't care nearly as much. In fact, most of your cats don't care at all. They really don't care. But your dogs, you've trained them to care, and you've rewarded them for showing signs of caring. And so they are much more likely to mimic your vibrations. Yes.
May I ask one more question? I just have to ask it. So I had a conversation with you a few years ago about being an animal communicator, and you helped me realize that they don't really need us to be, that they're very much in tune with broader perspective, and like you just said,
they like communicating with you. They just don't want you to turn their vibration into your distorted words.
Yes, I understand that. Thank you. So since I was little, I've always wanted to be Dr. Dolittle and talk to animals and have animals sort of know that I'm someone that they could get closer to.
Then make sure you're in the receiving mode and feel good when you're with them. Notice that when you get tuned in, they flock to you. They come to you from everywhere. They like being in that energy. At first, when they smell the humanness of you, they stand by to see what kind of humanness you are. because they are physically focused, and so like you, they do have physical sensors that they are utilizing to interpret. So they're seeing you and hearing you and smelling you and mostly tasting you. They are utilizing their physical senses to be aware of you, but they have this very acute sensing of how you feel. And so if you want to be of greatest benefit to them, feel good when you are with them. That's true of your human friends too.